So, as of 2 days ago now, it is the 2 year anniversary of a very special movie to me. And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. That is Spider Man No Way Home. Gosh, wow. The fact that that was 2 years ago now, I'm, I remember that so vividly. I remember the anticipation for it. I mean, I have been a Spider-Man, not just a super fan. I mean, Spider-Man has defined who I am. For as long as I can remember, um, been, I remember must have been like from the cradle practically when Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies came out with Tobey Maguire. And I don't even remember there being a first moment. I just remember Spider-Man always being my favorite character, my favorite thing. I loved Spider-Man. I dressed up as Spider-Man. I watched the movies. I watched the cartoons. And, with some things when I was a kid, a lot of kids have those types of things and then they drift off. And I've had that with a lot of other things too. But not Spider-Man. Spider-Man has continued to be a massive, massive part of my life, if not even bigger somehow, which is certainly saying something. I mean, he's defined my interests, who I am as a person. I am not who I am without Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's like the chicken or the egg. Did I connect to Spider-Man growing up because I felt like him and I related to him? Or did Spider-Man and Peter Parker's influence just, seep into me from such a young age and make me who I am, the caring, friendly type person who always tries to do everything for so many other people, and struggles a lot of times to find ways to do things for himself. But as Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. And I've held to that motto my entire life. I've tried to take whatever power I have in this world and just, do what I can with it. Even if I'm not doing something directly to help someone out, I just have hope for people. And I love people, and I love to just help them whenever I can, and to do whatever I can to make people smile. When I've been told that it's like, oh, your review sold me on this movie, it warms my heart. When I have been there for people in times of need, whether it's out of obligation in cases of like family, if I have to be there for a project or something, it's like, but whenever you're just there for someone and then you see that gratitude from them, and it's like, I'm doing this because I wanted to do it, and it's like, I'm doing this for you, and you're taking appreciation of me. That's Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't know who I would be without this character. I know I'm gonna be a broken record saying that through this video. I've loved this character for so long. And the original Tobey Maguire trilogy, as a kid, I adored the Andrew Garfield movies, and I still adore Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. One of my favorite actors working today. I have the video games, the recent ones here. I have the to the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know if Into the Spider-Verse this year. I got to see that in concert a couple months ago, which was insane to me. I admittedly need to read more comics, but the comics I have read have just brought me so much joy. The love that other people share for this character, the meme, everybody loves the meme. It's like, I'm something of a scientist myself. That's like, it's, I guess I got lucky with one of my favorite characters. Well, not one, my favorite character being one of the most popular characters in all of fiction. He is the definition of the every kid, struggling in a lot of ways to do the right thing, but somehow persistently always trying to come up on top. And even if that doesn't mean he wins, but he did the right thing, and he knows that in the end, like, that'll be good for everyone else, and eventually he will get happiness and just the love and the fact that everyone can be Spider-Man, as Spider-Verse said. Anyone can wear the mask, and it's just and all of this, and I haven't even gotten into my excitement for No Way Home. I remember when Far From Home came out, and I was shocked, pleasantly so, that they brought back J.K. Simmons in the role of J. Jonah Jameson. And I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. And then we had that, all that drama with the will they, won't they Spider-Man, and with Marvel and Sony happen. But then eventually that got resolved. And it was like, okay, yeah, back to being excited for this movie again. I have my popcorn bucket here. I wasn't able to get this during the theater, but I had to order it after the fact because I just had to. I think it was my freshman year of college, and I'm a senior now, where I was just sitting in my freshman year apartment, and I was just looking at movie news, as I do as a massive film, as your friendly neighborhood film nerd does, and I saw the headline that Jamie Foxx was going to return as Electro, which completely blew my mind. I was never logistically expecting it. I had like fantasies of seeing some of the other characters from Spider-Man movies show up in other things, since they're about to introduce the idea of the multiverse. But I was floored by that announcement, as were a lot of other people I knew. We were just like giddy with excitement that, like, even though it was Jamie Foxx from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And when I rewatched that movie, I think earlier that year, like, I remember it not like taking to me too well, but I was like, but Jamie Foxx is returning from that movie. Like, that's insane. Like, he gets a second chance, which is a big theme of the movie. And then Al Molina was eventually announced. And then it was like, well, then the floodgates just opened up. Who else is going to come back? Is Willem Dafoe going to come back? Which version of the Green Goblin are we going to see? How many villains are we going to get? Doctor Strange was announced. Doctor Strange was eventually announced to be in the movie, which was a very, obvious. It made complete sense given the announcements that were coming up. I mean, I remember just being excited when I thought this movie was going to be about Kraven hunting Peter after the world finds out his identity. That didn't end up being the case, and I know that was one of the potential options that they went with, but they went in a completely unexpected direction that I don't think anybody was expected, but then everybody wanted it. Like, it was absolutely insane. And then when the first trailer dropped, roughly a year after that, hearing about all the different, all the rumors. I remember that title drop video when they were like, which home is it going to be? And like all the fake titles, all the, People are still doing that with the Spider-Man home stuff. And then like, excuse me. And then it was revealed to be No Way Home on my birthday, no less. Or was it the day after? Regardless, then fast forward, I think it was to August when the first trailer dropped, and I was just like giddy with excitement and also just like shocked that they were gonna adapt one of the most controversial Spider-Man storylines of all time with Spider-Man One More Day. I believe that is the comic that released in the Civil War era, with Mephisto making a deal with Peter Parker to make everyone in the world forget that he was Spider-Man after revealing that he was Spider-Man, but then and save Aunt May at the cost of his marriage. A very bizarre choice, and it is very it's very infamous in comics lore, and I've yet to read the comic itself, but I know enough to know that it's an odd choice, but they were choosing to adapt that and have the consequences of that be the major reason and the major reason that all the villains came back. And then there was all the speculation of, well, are we going to get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back? I was just like, for the longest time, I tried to keep my expectations in check, because it was like, the movie is probably going to be great no matter what. John Watts did a wonderful job directing the other two, as did Eric Summers and Chris McKenna writing. And I just it's like I didn't want to expect something that was gonna, as MJ in the movie says, if you expect disappointment, you can never really be disappointed. I was just holding out on those, and then the rumors became leaks, and it was becoming increasingly obvious with the Andrew Garfield thing. It's like, I'm not the werewolf, which is just one of the most funny cases of press junket interview, and just and then the leak where it happened. It's a Photoshop, and then it was revealed to not be a Photoshop. I remember all this anticipation just building up for the December release, which felt perfect. I remember when the Star Wars movies started to release around that time, and it made that release timing just feel like a very special thing, to have one big end of the year movie event. And for this, it was my second year of college, but really my first real in-person year, where I was able to interact with people in person, in the flesh. The year before, the school year before, was completely virtual. Everybody had to have their, had to stay at home, or if you were on campus, you still had to do classes mostly, if not all, virtually. And, a lot of people had their cameras off. I did not. And thus people knew me, and they knew me as the guy wearing the Spider-Man hat and the huge Spider fan. And it just, and I made a lot of friends virtually, and then even more when the floodgates opened to in person. There was a person dressing up as Spider-Man on Temple University campus, and people just assumed that it was me, which I was I was very humbled by it. I was like, haha, what if? And then I actually did go out in the suit, and I actually had that feeling of being Spider-Man and bringing joy to people, just to see people just be excited to see one of their heroes just walking about, just saying hi. I met friends through that. There are people I met friends of Spider-Man. That feels crazy to me still, 2 years after the fact. And I remember all the speculation, just all the anticipation. It was just that moment of time was just pure lightning in a bottle. It was all the anticipation, the leaks, the speculation, just being excited to just be a Spider-Man fan. Just, having so much good Spider-Man content before, after, like, it was such an exciting time for me and for so many other people. And I, and it was crazy. It was a very chaotic semester, as most are, with a lot of ups and downs, but eventually I was able to make it through. And, I remember staying up till, I think it was 3 a.m. on the night that tickets were dropping, and to make sure that I get them for me and my friends at Temple, and then my family back at home. And it was insane. Like, I've never experienced that, never want to experience that again. And thankfully I haven't had anything aside from, I want to say, maybe Multiverse of Madness. I haven't had anything that stressful with getting movie tickets. But I was like, I wasn't going to give up on that. I had to see that movie opening night, no matter what. And I had to see it with all the film friends that I had made over that semester, that past year. And it ended up, after like asking a lot of people individually, it ended up being a group of, myself included, 14 people. I have that picture over there on my fridge. It still blows my mind that many people were interested in seeing that movie, with just not just seeing the movie, but just, I don't know, it felt like a very humbling moment to me. And it was all culminating. I finished my finals on, I believe it was the 14th, and like, it was just the constant, like, 1 week more. It was becoming a running joke of just like, it's like, it's coming. It's like what movie are you gonna see? I'm shocked I didn't do that at the time. I did that for the release of the extended cut, the thing where it's like, where you have the mask on. It's like, and what movie are you here to see? And I should have done that before that, but eventually I did do it. And like, it again, lightning in a bottle. I finished up my finals on the 14th again, and then the next day I had a wonderful lunch with a friend, and then had another lovely night by the Philadelphia Dilworth Park Christmas Village and ice skating rink, and just soaking in that excitement with being with friends, having a great time. And then the next day, after weeks of build up, after showing my one friend, Joanne Wynn, several of the Spider-Man movies, because she had mentioned that she had not seen most of them, but she had wanted to. So I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. It's like, I can spider educate. So I believe it was prior Spider-Man 1 of Tobey. The Monday, the day of that week, was Spider-Man 2. On the 14th, following, I think, a free public screening of It's a Wonderful Life, another movie that means a lot to me, and a movie I never expected to be one of the core inspirations for this, which is even crazier to me. So then me and Joanne watched Spider-Man Homecoming, and then fast forward to the day of Charlie Cox's Daredevil. My apologies for just completely running my train of thought, but I remember just I remember when I was seeing those rumors, it's like, I have to believe it to see it. And then there was that official Deadline article, I think it was Deadline, that Charlie Cox was going to be returning as Daredevil in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was insane to me. It's like, oh my God, the rumors are true? It's like, that was insane to me, because he's another character I adore, and I adore their relationship in the comics and cartoons. It's just like everything. It was the culmination. Everything was building up. December 16th, 2021. No correlation to December 16th, 1991. It's kind of funny, that timing of how it works with the Civil War line. But, I go to help my friend with her stuff, since I believe she was moving out. And then we just waited in my apartment, and we watched the Hawkeye finale. or no, it wasn't the Hawkeye finale. It was the penultimate episode, I believe, which had Vincent D'Onofrio return as Kingpin, which was like also fitting. And then before, and I was like, I think if we start it right now, we can go from Far From Home into No Way Home, which we did. Several people were arriving. I had plans of like so many, like, it's like, all right, so people are going in this vehicle to get to the fashion district because we wanted to see it on the biggest screen possible. And for me, I knew that in Philadelphia, that was the fashion district, Dolby at the AMC, and it was again lightning in a bottle. People were arriving to my place, watching Far From Home, which I still adore. I think it's such a fun movie. I got this mask while I was in Venice this past summer, just like partially just being like, it's kind of a Spider-Man thing. He wore that, a Venetian Carnival mask, and movie. Like Spider-Man connects to my life in every way possible. And then it was like, all right, got to get changed. So not this suit, because this suit did not exist at that time. I wore my Homecoming Stark suit, which was not the first suit I ever had when I was a kid, but the first one since I was, at least a young adult. And, because it's like I couldn't not dress up in this suit going to see the movie. So we all then drive to the theater, and just the lines were pretty, crazy. Endgame was certainly like even bigger, but this was still like something else. And just that personal excitement of like, just being like, it was like all worry of like, okay, is everybody arriving in time? But my friends were being so good at the time. They were being like, all right, so this person's arriving is like, I got their tickets there or whatever. So we were all arriving at roughly the same time. I don't believe they had a popcorn bucket for it at AMC, but obviously it's like, how could I not get popcorn for that? I was wearing my hat. I had like sterile gloves over my suit because it wasn't detachable gloves, and it was just, and then walking into that theater with the Sonic 2 trailer like just ending right as I was walking in, which ended up being another similar moment of excitement, and just that giddiness. I have the picture of just the beforehand of just I'm that nostalgia of that moment. All 19 years up till that point of my life was leading all up to that moment. It really was. I'm gonna take a quick sip real quick. Everything was leading up to that moment when, the trailers would end. The Nicole Kidman monologue that has become now so famous would play, and just then everything like goes dark, and then the movie begins, and I was like, I knew it was getting great reviews. So it's like, but still, I knew at that point, like, who was going to be in the movie and who wasn't. But just watching the movie, seeing characters that I had never dreamed of showing up in this movie, of returning, not just characters, actors in these roles. Like, I never expected Doc Ock, played by Al Molina, to show up. And then to hear him get applause, Charlie Cox got applause, the Green Goblin got applause, but then through all of that, it was wonderful. It was such a wonderful, wonderful movie. It was taking the very essence of what makes a Spider-Man story so great and just nailing it in so many ways. It was dealing with the literal struggle between the two sides, and like it was like the consequences of his life of Spider-Man leading into his personal life as Peter Parker so directly more than ever. It was like it was insane, and then it made it's like it makes sense why they actually went to that one day more or one more day adaptation when he goes to Doctor Strange to be like, I need to fix this, but then he has that moment of selfishness of like that one, it's like that one like little moment that it's like it's in so many Spider-Man stories, like that one little moment ends up being the crux of everything. And it's like some people are like, he was being stupid then, and it's like, some that's just life. I've done that. I've done stupid things out of being selfish and wanting my friends and family to be involved with certain things. It just it was wonderful. And then I probably should have mentioned up top that this is going to be spoilers, but it was all just building up to everything. And then it's like I remember again in the speculating, it's like, well, this movie is going to be such a huge event. Who is going to get the bucket? Because it's just like that just happens in big epic movies like this. I thought it was going to be Happy. I wasn't expecting them to do Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, especially since they did that once with the PS4 Spider-Man. But it certainly didn't lose its luster when Willem Dafoe has that wonderful, wonderful turn from Norman into the Green Goblin. Just that a performance that was already iconic from the original, and he takes it up a notch and to such a wonderful degree with the most memorable spider sense scene that I've ever seen, just using the dolly zoom, portraying it as practically a panic attack, seeing it since you can hear the Green Goblin echo. It's like, and then with things like this where I'm so invested in, and my whole body is shaking, my hands are sweating, and I'm just completely like as stressed as the characters are. And then the moment when the glider goes through May, and then she passes, and and she gets to say the iconic line before that, which felt like so earned, because in the other movies they hadn't said that. And I still think the way Tom Holland says it is that it's like yeah, I know, it's like because it's probably something that Uncle Ben did say to him. But then just to see her fall, to see his mistakes fall before him, like I was devastated. I remember with my close friends next to me, I was like, I'm an easy crier, and I knew I was going to cry during this movie, but that definitely that was really impactful. And a lot of Spider-Man stories can have that. Obviously, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Gwen, the original trilogy, and even just out of joy. But this really got me, and it was just heartbreaking. With what I still think is maybe one of the best scenes in the movie, of just the scene with him on the rooftop looking at J. Jonah Jameson, remarking on him, and just that feeling of complete failure that Tom Holland feels. Tom Holland, in this gives, I think, the best performance of Peter Parker Spider-Man in any form of medium. I don't. It's just every aspect of the character just feels pitch perfect, and he's just working on so many levels. It's just that look up when it's just the "when will people wake up" line from J.K. Simmons comes on, and it was like that feeling of just that guttural drop, and then it was like that guttural drop, but then soon after it's like it's like I wish Peter were here. And then you see the sparks, and it's like, oh, okay. It's probably, it could, all right, well, they're gonna lead to him. And then when the poor, I know friends could piece together what was coming, I hadn't yet. So you see Ned do the Doctor Strange rings, and then you just see the white eyes of Andrew Garfield, and it was suit, and I was just, and everybody in the theater was just like freaking out. It was the one time I was like, I never had like interest in like getting like filmed reactions in a theater, just for privacy sake, for piracy, all that jazz. But I was like, I cannot not document this moment. And the second he just pops up on screen, and then he's like, hey Peter, it's like, I don't think I've ever felt more electrically exciting than that. And then hauls off the mask, and it's like, it is him. It's just, everybody felt the same level of euphoria at that moment, and in all the different moments of the film. And he has this wonderful exchange, and then soon after, it's like, all right, next one. It's like, all right, you need to see Peter. And then the hero of my person that made me who I am today, Tobey Maguire, walks back on that screen. I was the level I screamed at. It was simply remarkable. He walks on screen. At first I was like, he's not in a suit, but then it's like they call it back to it later, and it's just, it didn't matter. My childhood heroes, the people, the foundational people. It's like, I was already happy enough to see Tom Holland do a wonderful job. To see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back on screen as Spider-Man. I don't even know. I mean, I've already tried quite enough to describe it, but it is really hard to ascribe the level of pure joy that I felt in that moment, in those moments. And then, the rest of the movie continues. We get that beautiful scene with them talking to Tom Holland and talking about their regrets, their similar mistakes. And that scene just, it holds up so well. I'm fairly certain, like, I have every line of that scene marked down to a T, because it's perfectly done. I wasn't expecting, like, to see like Andrew Garfield his Spider-Man had gone down a dark path, and Toby had still he still just felt that hatred and but then and it's great power comes great responsibility, and then you get the wonderful scene after that, and then you get to the big action scene at the Statue of Liberty, where they're all, it's you get the kibitzing. I was surprised and so happy to see the, back getting reference and the dialogue exchange. The fact it's whoa, your webs are coming out of you. It's just, but then the action then starts, and it was really great just seeing all the things pop up, and they're struggling at first, but then, and it's they have that, exchange. It's Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. It's I've seen the Avengers. It's that's great. What is that? It's such good dialogue. It's just just roars of laughter, and then just I didn't even realize at the time they were doing the point, but then I was oh my god, I had to get the shirt or after the fact, and I did, and I've done the point, and and then it's like I love you guys. And they walk, then they do the runoff with Michael Giacchino's wonderful score complimenting them as they swing together as one up onto the top of the Statue of Liberty, with all three of them landing in consecutive order as Spider-Man against their greatest foes. And it's so wonderful. Just the action was great, really, really tight. Just the visuals were outstanding. That moment when they get, Toby grabs the mini super collider, and then that first moment when you hear Danny Elfman sing, it just like triggered it. So in me, it's just I was already messed, and then we got the bit with Electro, and Jamie Foxx was wonderful in the movie. He was able to do so much more, and I was so glad for him that he got that second chance, and then have Doc Ock come back already healed, like take the arc reactor from him, and then eventually it's then Tom Holland with the lizard, he saves the lizard, and then you get the scenes with Andrew Garfield interacting with Jamie Foxx, which was just wonderful just to see. And I wasn't sure, it's like, what theme are they going to reference? They did the James Horner one, and it was still so great. It's like I thought you were going to be black. It's like an obvious nod to Miles Morales, and it's like it's got to be a black Spider-Man out there, and everyone's like, yo, hey, yo. And it's like we all just so pumped that even just that brief reference. And it's like he gets that moments where it's like he gets to help Max when he never could, and even more emotional one for a lot of people, myself included, is the moment when Doc Ock is looking at the arc reactor, the power of the sun fall in my hand, and Toby swings back down, and you hear Danny Elfman's theme, and it's like the feeling's like two people who never thought they would see each other again. People, I didn't think I would see those two on screen together ever again. It's like trying to do better. It's like you could have helped him. Then when Strange comes back, and it's like I'm amazed that you were able to do this. And then that moment when it's like you knew that the Goblin was gonna ruin everything as he did before, comes in. Can the Spider-Man come out to play? And just with the same sound effect of Toby's spider sense, just that like tension of just like it's like shit, and it's like them trying to all go for the box, and then it's like, and then the realization of like, of all three of them with their spider senses, like they knew what was up. They see the pumpkin bomb. It's like Strange, no, and then we get that moment that we saw in the end of the other trailer. It's like that was obviously teasing, like the potential death of MJ, like her falling, and then Tom Holland jumping down, reaching out for her, and it was something a lot of people were speculating. It's like I didn't think that she was going to die when they showed that in the trailer. So it was like, well, how are they going to do that? Tom Holland gets grabbed by the Green Goblin, and Jay looks off. It's like, ah, shit. And then Andrew Garfield, the second he showed up on screen, after that, people were already cheering, and then gets to go down and save her. And it's like, are you okay? It's like, are you okay? That moment of full circleness for that. It's like that I don't think anybody expected. Nobody expected that after The Amazing Spider-Man 2, after the third movie was canceled. Nobody expected that. Nobody expected moments like that, because it's like you just didn't see this type of thing happen where like one movie celebrates all the different variations of the franchise. It was like remarkable, and then it's like you get the wonderful last battle with Tom Holland and the Green Goblin. When Toby was stabbed, it's like I knew it was like the second I saw that blade, it's like someone getting stabbed, and I knew it was going to be Toby when he goes down to put himself in front of the glider, gets stabbed, and it's like, oh shit! It's like he is dying, and then it's like evidently he wasn't, which was like that was a bit of a surprise. It's like, oh, okay. But then he gets to save him, and then they have the ending reveal, which admittedly confused me at first, of Peter just choosing to like, what if everybody forgot who I was, and like take that ultimate sacrifice? It's like, everyone, they will have no memory of you, and he accepts that because he knows that is what is needed to save literally this like catastrophic multiversal cracking, and also just because that's the only way that the people in his life that he cares about are going to be safe. And he looks at Ned and MJ down there, and he's like, "You're going to forget who I am." That probably the most emotional kiss scene in any Spider-Man movie. Like knowing that it's like could be the last time they ever do such a thing. It was just so emotional. Having that moment afterwards, of him coming into the donut shop and having that like brief reference to Spider-Man 1 where it's like he waves and it's like, oh hey, and then it's actually just someone else behind, and it's like, hi, I'm Peter Parker, and I would like to order a coffee, please. Again, I know this movie line for line, and like that's like that. It's there. It's like if you expect disappointment, it's like where'd you? Yeah, okay with the thing. It's like, oh, it's nothing, and that painful moment when he's like debating whether to actually tell her like that they knew each other, and then he just says no, and just walks away, and then you get that wonderful scene with him in the graves at Aunt May's grave, with just even that beanie. Like I saw that beanie. It's like, I gotta get that beanie, and I got a similar beanie like that. It's over there, and it's like the people who shall will keep it going. And I've tried to do that so often for the people I've lost in my life, particularly Granny. For anybody who knows me, she meant the world to me. Pop as well. And just the ending moments where the end suit, when they revealed the end suit, this beauty, probably not as like pristine as that, obviously, just the final swing, and I was shocked. I was in complete shock. We get the post-credit scene with Tom Hardy with that little bit from Let There Be Carnage, which I wasn't expecting that to like actually, until like the kind of reveals beforehand. I wasn't expecting that to directly tie in, but then to have it be like not really like a complete crossover, but then to tease the black suit, I was amped. Have the last thing be the Multiverse of Madness trailer, and I walk out with my friends just completely and utterly floored. Get that picture in front of the poster, and I just remember still just like walking with my friends through the mall, eventually getting changed, and we all went to dinner, and eventually went back, and then and then I was like, I had to get ready, but I couldn't. I was in complete and utter awe. I was flabbergasted, because that's a word that people use nowadays. But and then I continued to see it. I saw it the next day with my family. Another time that weekend at IMAX with my younger brother and my best friend from home, and I saw it again and again and again, and I saw that 6 times in theaters on the first run, and then a couple months after that, then the Blu-ray release. Then they showed the pointing meme. That was also another birthday present. Thank you very much again. And then you had the extended release. And then we've had every other thing of Spider-Man since then. But to this day, I will never forget the first time I saw No Way Home. It has been one of the most magical experiences I've ever had in my life. And yet the movie, it still holds up so wonderfully. It is the embodiment of not just even outside the cameos and people coming in from the other universe, it is the embodiment of everything I love in a Spider-Man story with a heartbreaking ending that takes It's a Wonderful Life and actually makes it sadder when you really think about it, because he isn't able to escape that reality where nobody knows where he is. That's the reality that he chose, that he had to choose. And it's heartbreaking, but it feels so poignant and so perfect. And just the way they characterize him, he never gives up, or almost never gives up, until the brink of losing everything or having lost everything. And just, it's like on its own, regardless of the connections to these other two series of Spider-Man movies, it's already on its own a wonderful film, not just a Marvel movie, not just a Spider-Man movie, a wonderful film. I knew the second I saw it, it was not just one of my favorite movie of that year, which it was 2021 was a great year, but it's like the second I saw it, number one. It's like, how could it not be? And then it grew up. It grew up. It's two now, to become one of my favorite movies of all time. Up until Across the Spider-Verse, I had them like basically like I couldn't choose like between them. So I basically just like Into the Spider-Verse, No Way Home, they were my babies. And then Across the Spider-Verse came out. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, how am I gonna do this now? But then as I just thought about it more, and Across the Spider-Verse like is groundbreaking with cinema, as is Into the Spider-Verse. And like it, but then I kept thinking about No Way Home, that perfect lightning in a bottle. 19 years of my life leading up to the perfect cinematic experience. A perfect cinematic experience that has continued on for me, that has continued to bring me this immense level of joy. It's not just become one of my favorite movies of all time. It has absolutely become my favorite film of all time. For the longest time, I said that was The Avengers, and I still consider that one of my favorite movies. And it was almost a symbolic thing, because when I saw that in 2012, it's like, that's like, this is possible to see like other franchises merge into one in a big event. I was 10 when I saw that. I didn't think anything could get crazier. Infinity War and Endgame were wonderful, but to some extent, it was kind of already what I expected, you know. But then No Way Home did something I didn't expect. It took multiple different franchises that were seemingly unconnected, and it blended them together, and it did so beautifully, wonderfully. It is, it's like everything else. It's not perfect. Nothing else is ever going to be perfect. You can tell that this movie was shot during a pandemic, but if anything, I almost admire that, because you could tell that I almost just love that they still poured the love to get this movie made in a time when the world was torn apart, and they worked their asses off to make sure this movie got a release. And it was the first, like, post-vaccines, it was like the first mega event. And Barbenheimer, I see it right there, has been another mega event for cinema. Last year, it was kind of spread across different ponds, with Top Gun Maverick and Avatar being huge box office juggernauts. Shockingly enough, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But all of that, it's hard to compare to No Way Home for me personally. And that is completely personal, subjective. All that stuff, because I can't deny it. I can't deny it to myself anymore. It's my favorite movie of all time. It is my favorite movie of all time. I am so grateful that this movie exists. I am still so anticipated for Spider-Man 4. I know they have wonderful possibilities for that. I'm so excited to see that. The likelihood of Daredevil being a massive part of the movie. And yes, it's never going to reach the level that is, and I'm perfectly okay with that because that's just life. And if anything, it's like I wouldn't want it to. This is lightning in a bottle. This is special. This is my baby. This is so many other people's babies. I know the likelihood of anyone from this film, Tom Holland, John Watts, Kevin Feige, Amy Pascal, the writers, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi, any of them watching this is unlikely. But if they are, and if anyone working on a single Spider-Man thing is watching this video, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving us everything Spider-Man, giving us this amazing movie that I cherish so deeply 2 years after the fact, and I will cherish for the rest of my life. It has brought me so much hope, and it still does. Thank you. I love you 3000. I'm sure I have rambled on quite long enough by this point. So I am probably going to, in theory, I should be productive, but I have to watch it again. It's been over a year. It's about damn time. Thank you everybody for watching this. Please look forward to more Spinning the Cineweb content. Do all the usual YouTube things and all that. And hey, maybe share this as much as you can. I would love to send this whole love letter to the people that made these wonderful parts of my life. Like, please, have yourselves a wonderful night. Happy holidays. I'll be saying that a lot in these next couple of videos. Take care. And as the wonderful Stanley once said, enough said.
Yeah, it has to be. Peter!
I'm Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man in my world. But then yesterday, I was just here. String theory, multi-dimensional reality. Peter Parker. What's the thing on his hand? Find Peter Parker. Find Peter Parker. I hope it's okay. I just came through this. Just close.
You're Peter.
Yeah, Peter Parker.